Hey y'all, it's Lindsay. Today is a recipe review video and we're going to be reviewing Indigo Neely's sausage balls, cream cheese sausage balls that she put up on her channel just a little while ago using her protein breading. I had to try it for myself. They looked amazing. I want to see how well these do in the freezer because that is oftentimes a question that I have is, can I prep things ahead of time, keep them in my freezer, and then when a situation arises or a gathering just spontaneously happens, I want to be prepared and not have to do a whole lot of work to get to a quick appetizer to bring or a snack to share. So I am going to be using this, my meatball maker. It's actually called a Meatball Master. And this little device, I also have the hamburger one, is amazing. I got this back in late winter, early spring. This will make making meatballs so simple. Pop them in the freezer, and then whenever you're ready to use them, they just sort of like are available. It's great. But first, let's go make up some sausage balls. To get started, I need to make up some of Neely's protein breading. She has her recipe on her channel and on her website. I will be sure to link those down in my description box below. The recipe requires pork rind crumbs, which I didn't have any of, but I do have the pork rind pellets. I cooked some of those up in my air fryer, and I'm now crushing those into little tiny crumb-sized pieces. With the protein breading mixture all measured out and mixed up, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is softening up some cream cheese. We're going to add the protein breading to the softened cream cheese, and then I need to start shredding up some cheese of my choice. I use the Colby Jack cheese often here in my house, so that's what I'm going to use here. Let's season this up. My camera focus was a little bit off. It's been struggling here recently, so forgive me for this clip. I've got some garlic powder, onion powder, some black pepper. I think I've got some crushed sage, some paprika, and a little bit of Redmond's real salt. If you would like a discount code for Redmond's real salt, that will be linked down in my description box below. I do only use that kind of salt in my house, especially for cooking, and I tend to buy it in 25-pound bags. Here I've got some plain ground sausage. I added a lot of extra seasonings because my sausage is pure ground pork sausage. There's no additional seasonings to it when I buy it. I'm going to combine all of my ingredients together in a large bowl because this requires a little bit of space to be able to incorporate everything together well. Overmixing any kind of ground meat mixture can definitely toughen up your final result, so just incorporate but don't get too crazy. Let's get this meat mixture loaded up into the Meatball Master. This bottom tray is where you load your meat mixture and the top tray is what shapes it. I'm gonna press this mixture into the bottom tray evenly and not go above the indicator line that shows you how full you can fill this thing. If you do overfill this Meatball Master, it will start to press a lot of the meat out of the pan, and you'll find it exceptionally difficult to get a good seal with the lid. And part of that is because you're trying to force the air out of the lid and press it down into your meat at the same time. I do like to use a rolling pin to sort of help mush all of that air out. And finally, once I've got it well pressed down, I can start to seal the edges to make sure that it is airtight. Once this is done, I'm going to pop this in the freezer and we wait and see what happens. If this is your first time meeting me, hi, I'm Lindsay. I follow a keto lifestyle and I like to share things regarding that here on my channel. I have what I eat in a day videos, recipes that I make myself, recipe reviews, and some other things kind of sprinkled in here. If that is interesting to you, I would love to have you stick around. And for my returning subscribers, thanks for being here. We are ready to bake up some sausage balls. I'm going to be using my oven and I'm going to keep it on the conventional oven setting, not the convection oven setting. I have these really fantastic baking trays with a perfectly sized baking rack inside of it. That's what I'm going to use, and I lined it with some parchment paper, and I am preventatively spraying with some avocado oil spray. Here is my meatball master. I've left it out of the freezer for probably about 30 to 45 minutes to try to help loosen some of these up. And as you can see, some popped out of the top, some popped out of the bottom, and I'm ready to layer some onto my baking rack. I'm gonna pull the rest of these out and store them in my freezer in an airtight Ziploc bag for a future time. But for now, we are going to start baking these. I'm gonna start with about 12 minutes, remembering that these are frozen, so they will definitely take longer to cook all the way through. 12 minutes is done, and we are going to check the color and doneness. I wanna rotate my pan 180 degrees and let these go for about 6 minutes longer to see if I can get a lovely golden crust on these. Full 18 minutes on these. We're gonna test the temperature and make sure that they're cooked all the way through. I am happy with that. Let's pop these out and let them rest for a few minutes. Now that these are out of the oven, I am so ready to try them. And I think this little fella right here is calling my name. It looks amazing. A lovely golden color. And now we taste. Fantastic flavor. That protein breading, because of those pork rinds, keeps the meat from drying out awfully in the oven. And the Meatball Master device, this thing is amazing because you can keep food frozen in this thing for a really long time. You're eventually going to get some freezer burn. But one of the things I like to do with this is make my meatballs in this. And once they are frozen solid, you know, about 24 to 48 hours, I'll pop them out, put them in an airtight Ziploc bag, and then be able to pull out a few at a time or be able to just manage this and use this in other ways. The hamburger version is also so simple to use. And the nice thing about this is you're not having to roll everything out, and everything is evenly sized. That is an area where I struggle. I like to use my little ice cream scooper or my cookie scoopers to do meatballs and things of that nature, or my chicken nuggets or chicken patties or any of those kinds of meats that are kind of incorporated with other ingredients. Meatloaf, if you want to make miniature meatloaves, but make them all the same size. This sort of is just a fun way to do it where I can also store it in the freezer and not have to worry about it, and it's ready to go whenever I need, like I said, a quick snack or something to bring to a gathering spontaneously. Neely's sausage balls are delicious and virtually undetectable that they are keto friendly by people who are non-keto people. That's the amazing thing about these savory dishes or savory appetizers and things of that nature. A lot of people who are eating a regular standard American diet aren't actually going to notice whenever it tastes this amazing. There's a lot of hyperbole when it comes to the keto world with foods that they're like, oh, it's better than the original kind of a situation. There's a lot of that. I actually do think these are better than the original. And I try not to be too hyperbolic about that. Anyway, go check out Neely's video and her link. Her protein breading is something you definitely want to make and have on hand for when amazing recipes like this pop out from her channel. I'm gonna go finish these before they get a little cold, and I'll see you in my next one. Cheers.